Welcome to our very late spoiler discussion of Mother. Now, for those of you who have been following our channel and our website at filmfreaks.com, what we're going to be discussing is Mother, directed by Darren Aronofsky. That came out in September 2017. That I did a video review when it came out, and he finally got around to watching it. And he did a written review. So we were doing some thinking, and we decided to finally give a spoiler discussion of the film because we realized that on both of our cases that this wasn't a film that you can really talk about without spoiling necessarily.
Like I practically felt like, what was the point of almost doing a non-spoiler, because I didn't know what to fucking write, because this movie is like, from beginning to end, everything's a spoiler.
Yeah, so we're not going to go into what we liked and disliked about the film, because we've already discussed that in our reviews separately. So we apologize that it took so long to get around to doing this, but we had some other things going on for a while that we kind of almost forgot about it for a while. But when he did his written review, he basically discussed that it was better for him to go into a spoiler discussion. So you can, so we're going to go here. And for those of you who haven't seen the film yet, you are welcome to check out our reviews of the film. He did a written review on our website at filmfreaks.com, and I did a video review here on YouTube, so you're welcome to check out either one of those. But now we're going to go into the movie itself and basically go into some things more in depth that we discuss in our, we meant to talk about in the spoiler section. So, as you know, this film is directed by Darren Aronofsky, and this film, to get the general plot rolling, it involves basically Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem. They're a husband and wife who live in this house pretty much in the middle of nowhere, so to speak. And Jennifer Lawrence's character basically lives in this, wants to live just a home life.
Well, secluded farm home life, while she has her husband who's apparently a writer.
Poet. He writes poetry.
Poetry, that's what it was.
He's a writer who wants to pretty much make the most poetic stuff that comes to his mind, so to speak. And so she wants the perfect life with him and everything. Well, there's some weird stuff that happens to where, as the movie goes along, basically, first they see Ed Harris's character, who's just simply known as Man in the credits, who shows up one day and they help him, they attend to him and everything. Then they discover that he's very ill because he's coughing a lot. And then we see that Michelle Pfeiffer comes in, who's just simply credited as Woman. She comes in there to attend. She's the wife of Ed Harris's character.
Yeah.
And basically, the film has a recurring pattern to where basically every time someone new, it starts out with just them two coming to the house.
Yeah.
And then as it goes along, Jennifer Lawrence's character, because she is very protective of her house and everything, she doesn't want really anyone in her house doing some things. She becomes suspicious of those two.
And while Javier Bardem is more welcoming, he wants these people.
Yeah, because he starts to get fascinated by their presence there and everything, and both of them start to look up to him as well as far as want to know more about his writing and everything.
Yeah, it's like everybody that shows up there is already know who he is as a poet, and they say his work changed their lives forever. Like, it altered their lives and stuff, and they're obsessed. So you're thinking the movie is going to be like a more obsessed fan type thing?
Yeah, basically. It's basically how much fame can get you away in life to the point where you become like an inspirer, so to speak.
Yeah. But Michelle Pfeiffer, she plays this kind of like a bitchy woman who just she's really blunt of what she says.
Yeah. And
she pretty much, does a lot of shit that Jennifer Lawrence doesn't approve of, and she basically wants her out of the fucking house. And then you have Ed Harris doing his thing where he's sick, and then you have Javier Bardem do something that you don't really get to see, but it's he's really sick, and it's the next day he feels like $1 million.
Yeah.
It's almost did he do some kind of magical thing on him and cure him?
That's stuff? What I'm saying, yeah.
And you have that image stuff with the diamond.
Yeah, see, okay, now we'll get to it here later on, but pretty much what this is supposed to represent is the fact that throughout the whole film, Jennifer Lawrence's character basically goes through, it starts to noticing around the house that, and this absolutely happens, so this is pretty much explanatory, the house bleeds. Yeah. So there are sections in the film where you kind of get the idea that maybe in her head she's seeing shit, and because there are points where she goes inside these rooms and stuff, and she starts seeing blood on the walls or on the floor and everything. She goes to the bathroom, I think, and she sees that there's a blood coming out of the floor, and then she puts later on she puts a carpet or something over it.
You notice, and throughout the film she's taking some kind of medicine.
Yeah. I don't know what that's supposed to represent, because that's still something I'm actually questioning about. I put that. I think I mentioned that in my non-spoiler review.
Yeah.
Because unless it's supposed to represent her. It was something to do with like her reactions or something, or like her not like freaking out or something like that. I don't know.
Every time she took it, she didn't really see anything. Everything was normal. But when she didn't, it was like she was seeing images, and she was going through like those migraines or some kind of like migraine-ish and just like in pain.
Well, I think what it's supposed to represent is because there's images where it shows like a diamond or something. Or like a heart or whatever, and it's basically, I think the film is trying to symbolize the way that the heart is supposed to represent her, like it's building up or it feels shattering as it goes along, so to speak.
So later on in the film, you have after they showing up, you get like Michelle Pfeiffer being kind of a bitch, and then you have
kind of nosy too.
Ed Harris, nosy on everything. Ed Harris is befriending Javier, and they're becoming like really close buds. Then like, not to go in every scene detail, but then like later on, you got their sons show up.
Yeah, their sons show up over some disputes that happen, and basically them two get in a fight, and one of them actually ends up dying.
Yeah, he
has
kills
to go to the hospital.
Yeah, he ends up killing him.
Yeah, he ends up killing him, and so they take the other one, or the other one runs away and everything, and it deals with basically the rest of it really deals with more with Jennifer Lawrence basically wanting nobody in her house after that.
Yeah, and then there's a funeral thing for the boy that shows up. And Javier Bardem said he wanted to host the funeral.
Yeah, and start to have everyone come, and so more people start to show up. And then while everyone's there, they basically see that Javier Bardem's character is such a poet, and they want to hear more of his story. And basically, as you can kind of see how we're going, the way that the film is going along with that, it starts to build more and more up to where more people keep showing up, coming from other different areas, and they keep showing up and basically piling the whole house, where it becomes pretty much like a fucking house party in there.
Yeah, it does. You can't even fucking fit in there, and then just some really trippy fucking shit starts happening when this happens. I will tell you right now, if you went and saw this movie on acid, you'd be fucking freaking out.
So throughout the whole film, Jennifer Lawrence is trying to keep her house very, very, very protective. She's basically
cleaning.
Very cleany. She wants to make sure nothing's happening, because a lot of scenes deal with people that are on this table and stuff, and she tells them to get off there all the time. Yeah. And then you have people that are going to the bathroom and stuff like that. She wants them to get out.
And then people having sex on their bed.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah. That one part where Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer fucking, that was just out of what?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. But yeah, you got all these people really disrespecting her house, and then next you know, you got people stealing shit from the house, and it's Javier Bardem saying that, pretty much saying, you can have it all. You can have everything.
He's giving basically everyone what they want, so to speak. And but before all that, there was actually one scene that actually kind of, I don't know if it was before or after. Well, it was before everyone else showed up in the film. There was actually a part that it was probably one of the most intenseful scenes I've seen of Javier Bardem, where pretty much that whole was it that diamond thing that broke?
Yeah, apparently whenever they left the house, they let Michelle Pfeiffer and Ed Harris was kind of hanging out in the house, and they hear something break. They go up there, and this diamond, which has pretty much been in, I guess Javier Bardem says it's pretty much everything to him. He fucking freaks out, and he starts crunching and slicing his hands and stuff. He does. You can tell, this movie's kind of weird because he doesn't really show much anger. It just builds in him, but he's so respectful to the people who are doing bad shit.
When you start to see that scene, that's actually one of the first moments where you see a very, strong emotion out of him, where Jennifer Lawrence is basically, trying to attend him and everything, and then basically, right there, you get to see the anger in him, where he's like, get out! And then after that, we get...
He hammers closes the
room completely.
Yeah.
And then going back to when everybody else shows up, there's more people that keep showing up and everything like that. And then after a while, Jennifer Lawrence has had enough with it. She's like, fuck this, get out of my house now. And so she starts yelling at everybody and everything like that. And you can really see the anger in her, because Jennifer Lawrence's performance in this is so haunting to the point that you really, you really just want her to, get through all this.
Yeah. And then while this is happening, you get people that just this is where it gets really trippy, is where you get people from all walks of life. You got gothy people, you got nerds, you got I mean, you just got people that just random of mix of everything.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. It starts to get surreal, too, because along the way, she's starting to see, like, really weird images coming around, like, in her head and everything like that. And then, on top of that, you also, well, we're not going to go beat for beat, but basically, the film pretty much builds up to where, the whole plot point basically builds up to where Javier Bardem's character, who's a poet, finally comes up with his masterpiece, and he wants to use that and be published. Well, once he does that, that's when we pretty much get close to about the third act, where we pretty much get everyone that's wanting to see his work at his house.
It's like the whole world is coming to his house.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like it just like loads. And it just doesn't stop.
We'll get into what we were kind of describing with this, because it's actually a good metaphor and allegory to something we'll get into here later on. But you get where we're kind of going with it.
And like these like walks of life and shit starts coming here. Then this is when the shit really starts fucking hitting the fan. And then like this is where it gets real fucking trippy. Then like it looks like it like you don't know if she's dreaming or not, but then you start seeing war and soldiers coming in.
Well, before we get on that, here's the build up to this. So before he actually goes to just publish his work and everything.
Yeah.
Throughout the film, Jennifer Lawrence is actually, I think she's also having like issues. I think wanting to have a child, so to speak.
Oh yeah, I left that whole part out. Yeah.
So if I remember, now I don't want to get facts wrong. Keep in mind, but if I remember correctly, weren't they having problems with having kids?
They was, and Michelle Pfeiffer was bringing it up quite often, and there was something about, like, they just couldn't have, they didn't think, they tried so many years and they just couldn't. Well, at the same time, Javier Bardem was not looking forward to being a father, while she was wanting to be a mom.
That's right, okay. I had to remember because it's been a while. You saw it more recently than I have.
But they ended up having a kid, and this is where the film actually slows tremendously down from what we were talking about throughout, the shit was going down. When she did, that was like after she screamed everybody get out
after the funeral,
and all that. Then she said get out and all that stuff. Then she's pretty much pregnant, and it kind of goes real slow, and like no one's really coming around.
Where it's about 9 months until it's being close to 9 months.
And then she has this has the baby and all that stuff. And then this is around the same time he also is going to publish his poem. And that's when everybody wants to see it, and that's when everybody shows up and comes and does that.
Yeah.
And this is where it really gets fucking trippy. You're seeing, first you see police thinking it's going to be break, because she calls the police to say, hey, get these people out of my fucking house and stuff. And because Javier Bardem is just having a blast. He don't even care. He's like, yeah. He's looking like, he kind of reminds me off the preacher dude from fucking Poltergeist 2, where he's like, you think God is in? You think that song's going to play? And you can see like how everybody's like, all that stuff, and then like it gets into real trippy shit, like soldiers. The cops turn into soldiers.
Yeah,
I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
I'm just like, damn, she must be on some really high on some really good shit.
That part right there, if you take acid and you went and saw this or took shrooms, you would freak the fuck out. Like, what the fuck am I watching?
To describe this, it's kind of how I put in my review of my non-spoiler. It's the equivalent of, you remember the very like last 20 minutes or so of Requiem for a Dream, same director. It reminds me of that, but cranked up to like fucking 10,000.
Yeah,
it's like so everything is so like out of this world, where she's seeing so much shit in there,
and she's screaming in pain at the same time.
And Kristen Wiig's also in this too. She comes in where she's playing the publicist, or the publisher who wants to have his poem written or his poem published and everything.
Yeah,
basically she comes in and it starts to turn weird of her because she's so obsessed with him and all that, and then all of a sudden when Jennifer Lawrence is like seeing all kinds of shit, it shows Kristen Wiig like having these people in like hostages and stuff, and starts blowing their fucking heads off.
Yeah, and it was like, whoa, what the fuck? And then next you have like bombs hitting the fucking house.
Yeah, I actually really like that. That shit was all disturbing for me as it went along.
want to bring something up too out of the flow we're getting in there. You remember she was also having dreams of a fire?
Yeah, that was at the very beginning of the movie. It was pretty much at the very beginning. The
property's on fire and the houses, and which comes to terms at the end.
Yeah, because at the beginning it shows like someone is on. It shows like someone on fire, and basically the whole house is like being rebuilt or something, and then it has something to do, and then all of a sudden like the heart or whatever that's in there grows.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later, but that comes into play later. But basically, yeah, it's weird that she starts seeing all this weird shit around, and then
every 2 seconds, it's like these people's clothes are changing.
Yeah.
It's like they're changing. Like, you see police, you see normal people. Then next you know, you see people in like these children corn clothes, and then like soldiers, cops just magically turn into soldiers. Then it looks like something from like a scene off of like, if you remember Demon Knight, where William Sadler was talking about his past, and then like you start seeing like he starts seeing shit, and like he sees him back in when he was in World War I and all that stuff. That's what this was kind of reminding me. I'm like, what the fuck? Right. I'm like, damn, that just came out of nowhere, and then you got just like. You got this random mix of everything.
Yeah, but it's very it's very
fascinating.
Great visual
I will say
the way that Aronofsky is able to craft all these different like sequences together, because it goes by in like kind of like a running like pattern, so to speak.
Yeah.
But then basically to get to the part that we've been really trying to talk about,
it was a part where she ran upstairs at first.
Runs upstairs at first to try to get away.
Because Javier Bardem starts seeing, okay, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah.
Let me take her up there. Then, then that's whenever she goes upstairs and then she starts having that baby.
Yeah. And then she's basically locked in there with him the entire time. And that's when we get this, well, before we get to what we're going to say, we get this really intense scene where the whole time that when she has the baby she finally brings it out in this world, and Javier Bardem wants to show it to everyone, but she's like, no, I do not want anyone to see this child. There's a whole like a 5-minute scene where it shows Javier Bardem like looking at her very like straight serious, and it's when you see the eyes of him, man, that's some fucking tremendous acting right there, because he's fucking intense in that scene.
Yeah, like he's waiting on her to pass out.
Yeah, because she stays up for so long that she's waiting to go by. And then falls asleep, and here's where we get to the part that has probably become the most controversial moment in from a lot of
probably
other reviewers.
Controversial in cinematic history. Probably.
So Javier Bardem ends up getting. Well, she wakes up and she discovers the baby's gone. It's like, oh shit! And then goes out her room and then goes to downstairs, and looks like everyone is joining some kind of like weird cult or something.
Yeah, everybody's in like really
like all these robes and shit.
It looks like a dark cult.
It looks like
Children of Corn.
Either that or Halloween 6, Curse of Michael Myers.
It looks very polygamist-y type feel to it. Pretty fucking really creepy and disturbing. And then you got Javier Bardem carrying the baby like he's some like god or something. Yeah. And he's carrying the baby around, and everybody's just passing it around like it's a fucking peace pipe or something. Just like, oh, and everybody like, oh, like doing all this weird shit. And next thing you know, like fucking the most disturbing shit I've ever fucking seen is they're all eating that. They tear around, tear that baby to shreds, just like, and it's showing the fucking show.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and the knives and like everybody stabbing.
You can see the reaction that Lawrence has in this is very
very emotional.
The same kind of horror. Yeah, the same reaction I was like, oh my god, where the fuck, man?
Yeah, I know, man. It's just like, oh my god, I've never seen something like that before.
Yeah. And so after that, basically, she goes to the boiler, and she pretty much has enough to where this is where, you remember how we were saying in the very beginning how it was seeing fire? Well, apparently at this point now, she lost everything, and so she basically literally turns on fire and then blows herself up.
Well, she took it was leaking oil.
Oh, okay, yeah, never mind. So
she was leaking oil, and basically they all follow her downstairs because she just freaks out and just, and they all follow her down.
When I first seen
that, and then she's just like saying, fuck it, just blows everybody up with her.
The first time I seen it at the beginning, I was like, are we watching a remake of Carrie again? Yeah. That's what it kind of looked like.
She went nuts like that. But anyways, basically everybody dies, and then it's left with just Javier Bardem and her, and
he's carrying her.
He's carrying her, and then he's not even scratch. And you're now finding out he's an angel. You don't know. Is he an angel? Is he something else from another realm? Is he God? Yeah. Is it hinting he's God? And he's carrying her. She's already burnt. Like, she's gone. She's like all like fucking. If you ever seen Silent Hill, that girl that got burnt fucking badly. Yeah, that's what she looks like. Yeah, that girl from Silent Hill.
Well, and then basically, much like the beginning when it showed that person, pretty much that image of the person on fire, same thing. Basically, in this, we get it to where everything restarts because he ends up burying her and everything, and then basically he puts the heart thing that he had and then puts it inside his little compartment or whatever, or his little piece together. The house starts to rebuild itself.
But didn't he tear it out of her?
He took her heart. So basically, he took her heart and then put it on top of that stone thing.
So it's he's done that before many times.
Yeah. So basically, he restarts everything from scratch after that because the whole house comes alive again. Yep. And then basically another woman wakes up and it's a new woman. Yep. So it's almost like a repeat of everything before to make new life.
Yep.
And I gotta tell you, after seeing this film, it's probably gonna take some more review, maybe another review to kind of get more of my thoughts into it. But I can say that this was definitely quite an interesting movie. It definitely was. Yes. It definitely was. Something that I like the originality to it. I like the way that it's able to.
Was great.
It has a lot of ambition. Everything. Oh,
it's the most original film I did see in 2017 for sure.
Yeah.
And performances, were fucking out of this world great. I mean,
yes.
Javier Bardem, I think No Country for Old Men was better. His my favorite of his, and then Skyfall as villain type guy.
Yeah.
But this is up there, man, because his performance and Jennifer Lawrence. I've kind of not really cared a lot of what she's done. Hunger Games, I started liking them, but then they got old real fucking fast for me, and I didn't really care for them. And I watched some other films with her in. I'm going to go see Red Sparrow that comes out this year. It looks pretty interesting, but I haven't been die-hard fan of hers, but I thought she was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought she was, yes, definitely. And plus, but here's where also one of the things I really do see a lot what people are talking about as far as this is something I actually do like its message with.
Yeah.
Basically, in a way, it's more or less like they're telling a retelling of the Bible. Because the film has a lot of religious allegories to where basically Javier Bardem is God,
and he's writing the Bible.
And he's writing the Bible to retell to tell his story.
Yeah.
And Jennifer Lawrence is Mary, basically. She's basically Mother Earth who wants to gives new life.
Yep.
And pretty much the people that are looking to up to Javier Bardem, they're the peasants that, like in the Bible, who worship him. And then you also got other stuff. Okay, Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer are supposed to represent Adam and Eve, basically.
Yeah. But I'm not really a big religious guy. I'm not going to go into detail on religion and all that stuff because I would get kind of lost. I just know the basics of it. But I do think this is what you call talented writing at its finest.
It is, definitely.
Even though I do find the film still a little bit flawed in some parts, the film's writing, this is superb writing. I'm sorry. To write something like this is not easy.
It's not.
You got to have fucking writing talent.
And with that, that's what I'm saying. So I really do.
And I was surprised because I didn't go see it with him because the trailers play it totally different.
It plays more like a horror movie, basically.
I thought for one, I thought this was going to be kind of like Little House on the Prairie setting, type old school, and it just looked very classical. So I was like, this probably wouldn't be for me. I don't know. If he wants me to go, I'll go. If I don't go, I don't care. Fuck it. And then I didn't go, and he went. But then I decided to put it on one day because I have, watched it here, and I was actually like, wow. You know what? This is like one of those films that I really didn't think I was gonna like, and I was actually, you know what? There's some things that were really great in this film.
There were, yeah. Like I said, in our reviews, the performances all great. I love the writing, the way it commemorates the psychological feel as well with Jennifer Lawrence and everything. Mm-hmm. All around great. The only things we really had was the pacing issues and some things that didn't always necessarily add up for us and things like that. But overall, I still I did enjoy the film, but it's definitely not going to be in my best of list or making my list. But I still enjoy it.
I have a lot of problems with pacing, and I do have problems with characters just coming, going, and not making sense. With Michelle Pfeiffer and Harris just gone, and that whole story of what happened there, just gone.
Yeah,
it just doesn't come back. So I had a lot of problems with a lot of that, and a lot of pacing, and a lot of just But it's still a great film. Yeah, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10.
I gave it a 7.5 as well, and there's pretty much our discussion of what we discussed, what we wanted to go more in detail with. So with that, I would say check it out if you get a chance to, and feel free to like and subscribe to our channel and check out more reviews here at filmfreaks.com and our on YouTube, and we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.